Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Top 10 list. This time we will be going over the top 10 best duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc-V. Remember, this is all opinion, and I hope you guys leave your thoughts and your lists down below in the comments section. There were definitely a lot of enjoyable duels throughout Arc-V, and this was one of the toughest lists I had to make. If you have not seen my other top 10 Arc-V lists, you definitely should head to my channel and check them out. It would be greatly appreciated, as this is the final day of Arc-V Bonanza Week. Let's get right into it, guys. As always, I hope you enjoy. Number 10. Just starting this list off is the only one-episode duel on this list, and that is Yūgiō vs. Rin, which takes place in episode 117. While I usually don't like one-episode duels because I feel they go by too quickly, this duel still had everything you could ask for given the circumstances. It was the first time we saw Rin really at all in the flesh, and while the brainwashing gimmick was annoying looking back in hindsight, it was still better than nothing. These two had a pretty impactful reunion scene, and immediately the switch was flipped on and Rin went on the attack, throwing Yūgiō out of the tower, which is still hilarious when you really think about it. The action in this duel was good, with Yūgiō really trying to break through to Rin. The best part of this duel occurs when Yūgiō's D-wheel breaks. I gotta tell you, I really never liked Yūgiō's character, but even I felt bad for him and felt his emotions right afterwards during that final turn. The last 4 minutes of this duel are really powerful, and you guys should know that something I love more than anything is a shock conclusion. No one, and I mean no one, gave Rin a chance to win this duel, but she stunningly pulls it out, becoming the first person ever to defeat Yūgiō. Between the well-conveyed emotion, the fact that this is the only time we saw Rin duel, and the fact it had such a shock ending, it just makes this list for me at the number 10 spot. Number 9. Coming in at 9 is a duel that maybe not a lot of people will agree with, but that is the rematch between Yuya and Edo during episodes 110 and 111. Now, the problem I think a majority of people have with this duel and this arc, if you could even call it an arc since it only lasts 12 episodes, is how rushed everything felt in terms of the aftermath and the retribution scenes. Right after this duel, Edo, who we were only introduced to a few episodes ago, immediately changes his ideologies and stabs Academia in the back. Which, yes, it did feel very rushed, but I honestly thought the duel between these two was pretty entertaining. Edo really dominated this duel for the most part, and what I liked about it most of all is that it took place in this cage that Edo set up, meaning there would be no outside interference, and it just gave that almost helpless feeling that a lot of the duels didn't have, knowing there was no way for Yuya to escape or get assistance from anyone, which he needed in the Obelisk Force duel that occurred in the episode prior. We also see the debut of Brave Eyes, which, no, it's not as cool as Dark Requiem, but I still really like the design. The duel reaches its climax when Yuya resummons Brave Eyes and declares an attack. Edo has a flashback of Yūshō and then activates his traps. The minute he does, the music changes, and I really thought Edo was about to pull it out. He even uses an action magic and gains the upper hand. While Yuya is running for a counter, he trips, and I remember this is one of the only duels that I actually stood up because I literally thought Yuya was going to lose, but of course, he pulls a card from out of nowhere and pulls out the win. I honestly thought the last 3 minutes of this duel were so unpredictable and well written, and for that reason alone, it almost makes this list. Of course, the circumstances around it prevented it from being any higher, but to make this list is achievement enough. Number 8. Number 8 is another duel that happened in the later part of Arc-V, and that is the closest we have ever gotten to a 4-on-4 U-Boy vs. Bracelet Girl duel, which was Yuya vs. Ruri, more technically Yuya and Yuto vs. Ruri and Serena. The duel takes place in episodes 124 and 125, and was personally my favorite duel between a U-Boy and a Bracelet Girl. The duel starts with Yuya and Ruri dueling. Immediately, Yuya and Yuto could tell something was off about Ruri. My favorite part of this duel has to be when Shun comes in to tell them about Ruri being mind-controlled, and as he's talking, Serena just walks over and tases him in the back. I still have no idea why or how Serena got her hands on a taser, and why she didn't just tase Yuya and end the duel. Yu-Gi-Oh logic, I suppose. But this duel really had two great scenes. The first being when Yuto takes over and has flashbacks of him and Ruri in the past, while he summons Dark Rebellion. And the second, well, it's probably the most iconic scene in all of Arc-V. I mean, the clip on YouTube almost has 1 million views, which is nuts. And it's the summoning and attack of Odd Eye's Raging Dragon. During both of those scenes, the music was amazing, the emotions were great, and all in all, this duel was a really enjoyable one to watch. Yuya ends up obliterating Ruri and Serena, even blasting through the wall behind them. He's able to calm himself down, he goes over to try to interact with them, and they both somehow get back to their feet after that blow and run off. Definitely an enjoyable duel, and it is the 8th best duel in Arc-V, in my opinion. Number 7. Let's move to the Synchro arc, because that is where we will find the 7th best duel in Arc 5, and that is the matchup between Shun and Dennis in episodes 74 and 75. This was very reminiscent of the Sora vs. Shun duel in the sense that Shun exposes another Academia spy. This one was a little different because we were positive. We knew that Dennis was a spy, and he had bad intentions. The duel starts with Shun saying he'll expose Dennis, with Dennis playing dumb as you'd expect. Then we get to the part where the duel really turns to that intensity, edge-of-your-seat mode. Dennis talks about how he's going to show Shun the greatest entertainment, the music changes drastically, and he calls his draw. What follows is his Antique Gear Chaos Giant summon while they show Yuya and Serena watching on, horrified that he was an Academia spy this whole time. Dennis then gives us backstory that we were craving on how Ruri, Shun's sister, was captured. He talks about how he was the one who scouted out Heartland, and he was the one who gave the green light to the invasion that destroyed Shun's home and took away his sister. Obviously, this duel was no longer the light-hearted affair that the people of the Synchro Dimension thought they were getting. One of my favorite lines is when Shun goes, "I won't let this abomination run any longer," referring to the Chaos Giant, and Dennis just goes, "If you could do that, wouldn't Heartland still be at peace?" Damn, Dennis literally has zero chill. Shun goes on to summon Satellite Cannon Falcon, who descends obnoxiously high into space and delivers the final blow to Dennis. Dennis gets thrown from his D-wheel and loses gracefully by muttering, "Kurosaki, you win," before passing out. I really like this duel, one of the best in terms of drama in the entire show, and it makes this list at number 7. Number 6. Number 6 is another rematch duel, and that is the rematch between Yuya and Shingo Sawatari during the Miami Championships. In terms of entertainment, this is the greatest entertainment duel in Arc 5, in my opinion. The duel takes place in the beginning parts of Arc 5, episodes 31 and 32, to be exact. The real shock of this duel comes when Shingo uses pendulum cards of his own, which stun the entire stadium and Yuya. Shingo is able to summon Diabak, which is one of the strongest cards we had seen up to this point, with a whopping 3,000 attack. Yuya really struggled the entire duel, and that's what I liked so much about this, because it was one of the only times Yuya struggled greatly against a not one-shot opponent, maybe besides the Reiji duel, at least this early in the show. Shingo had sealed off Yuya's pendulum summons, and it almost seemed hopeless for him. My favorite part of this duel is when Yuya just swan dives through the roof of a building to grab an action card during an attack. The building collapses, but Yuya is unharmed with an action card that saved his duel. This was the entertainment dueling that I loved watching. It didn't feel forced. It was genuinely extremely enjoyable to watch. Yuya then summons Beast Eyes a few turns later. Him and Shingo both go for action cards. Yuya is able to get the one that leads him to victory. The ending 5 minutes of this duel, along with just great action over these 2 episodes, was a lot of fun to watch, and this duel deservedly makes this list at the number 6 spot. Number 5. Well, I hope you're all enjoying so far. We are now entering the top 5 portion of this list, and leading off the top 5 is the duel between Reiji and Yuya, the third duel, the final duel of Arc 5, that takes place in episodes 147 and 148. I really did enjoy this duel, and I feel like this is kind of like the Edo duel in the sense that it might not make too many lists because of everything going on around it. This is the end of Arc 5, and as most of us know, the ending of Arc 5 has been extremely criticized, but just taking this duel at face value, it's an enjoyable duel. There is so much great action between them both battling to get 5 action cards first, to Reiji summoning 3 DDD monsters that are odes to the previous final bosses in Yu-Gi-Oh!, to Yuya summoning so many new, awesome-looking dragons. The action in this duel is some of the best action you'll find. The counters are great. The entertainment was decent. It was better than it had been in some duels prior. The thing that hinders this from being up there as a top 2, top 3 duel, because the amount of awesome summons and action is right up there, are the things that are going on around it. The U-Boy interaction felt out of place. They were doing this to make a baby smile. I didn't really feel for Yuya during that quote-unquote powerful Zark crying scene, but even with all those negatives, I thought the action, the music, the animation was all A+, and it does make this top 5 for me just at the number 5 spot. Number 4. We head back to Card Games on Motorcycles for the 4th best duel in the show, and that is the rematch between Yuya and Jack Atlas during episodes 96 to 98. This duel was always going to happen after Jack defeated Yuya about 30 episodes prior, but I'll tell you, the duel did not disappoint. Sure, you had those irritating duel chasers interfere, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but just seeing Jack absolutely annihilate them was so entertaining to watch. I have to give Yuya credit. He had a lot of awesome moments in this duel while trying to find his own dueling, as Jack put it. At one point, he summoned 5 monsters through a pendulum summon, and that scene was so well done because right before Yuya does it, he's talking about how he created pendulum summoning, and he goes on about the friendships and bonds he's created while they show Shun confronting protesters, Sora and Tsukikage rescuing Yuzu. Between that and the music, it's just a really well put together scene. Another awesome Yuya moment is when he summons Nirvana High my paladin, which was finally that badass synchro monster we had all been waiting for. However, the best moment of this duel comes from the king himself, Jack Atlas. One of my favorite 5D scenes is when Jack summons Scar Red Nova Dragon for the first time, and this reminded me so much of that. He calls out a double tuning, and he summons Red Demon's Dragon Tyrant. The chant was awesome, the music was perfect, but the visuals, my goodness, the guy calls out for the Crimson Dragon, and we actually see the freaking Crimson Dragon on screen. Just an absolutely awesome moment. This duel was filled with them. I wasn't a huge fan of the ending of this duel, not because Yūgiō won, but the way all the citizens called the attacks with him. I don't know, it felt a little corny to me, to be honest. But even with that, the duel was great, and it makes the number 4 spot on my list. Number 3. The bronze medal goes to the best U-Boy duel we witnessed, and that is a duel between Yuri and Yūgiō. The duel takes place during episodes 134 and 135, and is just a fantastically fun duel to watch. The action between these two is incredible. The music and animation were as well. We could all sense that Zark's revival was approaching, and given the fact that Yuri was undefeated coming into this duel, there was always that unpredictability factor on who would win, which always increases the drama of every move. Yuri immediately pushes Yūgiō into a corner by getting all 3 dragons, besides Odd Eyes, on his field and under control. Yūgiō is able to barely survive, but not without sending Smile World to the grave, which pretty much sets him off, not in an angry way, but in a more depressing, hopeless kind of way. He's able to battle through it and is able to repossess Dark Rebellion and Clearwing. Yuri, towards the end, activates Ridicule World, which I think sums up this duel perfectly. Ridicule is literally so opposite of Smile, and the fact Yuri has a card named Ridicule World while Yūgiō has a card named Smile World is just one of those minor details that you might not catch. Sums up both of these characters so well. Yūgiō gets Odd Eye's attack back to normal and declares his attack, and right when he does, Swing Pendulum of the Souls hits. And it's just an amazing scene. The last turn is incredible. The duel is awesome. The action is really good. Reason it's not higher for me is the screaming from Yūgiō honestly got a little annoying, but that's really the only gripe I have with this duel. Then again, he is being possessed, and I guess I can't really relate to that feeling, thankfully. This originally was second for me, but after rewatching some other duels, this swapped with the duel that was third at the last second, so it just missed the number 2 spot. Nevertheless, it's a great duel, and it takes the bronze medal on this list. Number 2. The duel that just took over the runner-up spot for me right before I confirm this list is the second duel between Yūgiō and Akiba Reiji, which takes place in episodes 50 and 51. This duel had everyone on edge. It was right after Reiji announced that this was a test, the Miami Championship, to form the Lancers and, in a way, kind of root out the weak duelists that weren't strong enough to handle the war, which was kind of a dick thing to do considering how many people were carded and lost their lives. Of course, Yūgiō, knowing Yuzu might have been killed, wasn't thrilled about it and immediately challenged Reiji, even saying that he would make him grovel, which was a great build-up to this duel. My favorite part of this has to be the last 10 minutes during Yūgiō's final turn. The action was good throughout, great actually, but it's these last 7 or 8 minutes that are just some of the most intense moments you'll find in the entire series. Yūgiō takes a blow from Kali Yuga, which leads to Reiji taunting him and asking him where that conviction went that he showed earlier. Yūgiō then takes his turn, talking about how this duel is for Yuto and Yuzu, not just him. He pulls off this crazy combo using a card that Yuto left for him, Shuffle Reborn, and is able to summon rank 7 Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon. Everyone watching is in awe. This is literally like a 5-minute combo just to summon this monster. It was insane and awesome to watch, and it really seemed like there was no way Yūgiō was going to lose this duel. Reiji laughed sinisterly when Yūgiō summoned Rebellion Dragon, claiming that this is what he wanted to see. Yūgiō then calls his attack, Reiji counters through Kali Yuga's effect, and pulls off the win. I really did not see that ending coming. I thought there was no way that Yūgiō was going to lose after pulling off such a great turn like that, but that is one of the duels that made me realize just how skilled and dangerous Reiji was as a duelist. Great action, great emotion, great build-up, surprise ending, all of those factors made for an incredible duel. Not the best in ARC-V, but very close. It takes the number 2 spot on this list. Number 1. Before I announce the best duel in ARC-V, I just want to say that I think this duel is not only the best duel in ARC-V, but one of the best duels in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I know it's a basic pick, as this is a favorite of a lot of fans, but the reason for that is because it's just an amazing duel. It is the duel that takes place in episodes 33 and 34 between Shun and Sora. So going into this, we knew there were a lot more to these characters than we knew about. We didn't know much about Shun or his motivations for his actions, and we could infer that something was a little off about Sora. The duel starts with Heartland being the action action field, and Shun is immediately triggered by this. Shun continually accuses Sora of destroying his hometown, to which Sora denies and pretends he doesn't know what he's talking about. The action in the first half was good. Shun really lays into Sora and deals blow after blow after blow, to the point where the Heartland field started to look destroyed. Sora does these crazy moves to dodge a collapsing building, and lands with a wicked smile on his face. Yuzu's father, Shuzo, questions how he was able to move so fluidly like that, and that is when the duel absolutely kicks into overdrive. I cannot watch the last 10 minutes of this duel without getting chills. The emotion, the reveal is so brilliantly done. Shun asks Sora how it feels to be hunted and how his people took everything he had. Sora laughs it off and then goes completely insane. I mean, I knew something was off about him, but I never would have expected him to be this crazy. He talks about how they killed Shun's people for fun and about how it's just all a game, which is not the least bit messed up. The duel went from 0 to 100 just like that, which we all knew was kind of going to happen based on the early stages of the match, but I don't think anyone could have expected Sora to be that unhinged. A character that was made out to be such a sweet, innocent kid that we knew since the beginning of the show was a murderer who gained a thrill from carding people. Just an insane plot twist. Shun ends up coming back and defeating Sora with the "we will always take back our comrades" line as one of the best delivered lines and speeches in the entire show. The music too. The music set the tone so well for everything that was going on. Sora's reveal, Shun's comeback. The duel was just so amazing. If you have not watched ARC-V, and if you're not planning to watch ARC-V, just watch this duel. It is absolutely worth it. It's only the second time my favorite duel does not include the main protagonist, the other being Ryo vs. Johan from GX. But again, this is one of the best duels in not just ARC-V, but in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, and it tops this list. Thank you all so much for watching. Just like ARC-V, Bonanza Week has come to an end. It was a fun week. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope to talk to you and hear your lists down below. Whether you agreed or disagreed, I really hope you enjoyed regardless, and I cannot thank you enough for all the limitless support you've given me throughout ARC-V. I guess I'll see you all for Vrains. Thank you for watching. Long live Yu-Gi-Oh! Have an amazing day, everyone.
Oh, you're my best friend.